Welcome to the Hyper Growth Zone podcast. This is your go-to resource for personal growth, mastering communication, and influencing and persuasion techniques that will help you unleash the full potential of yourself and others. Here is your host, Alex Morgan.
Welcome everyone to episode 2 of the Hyper Growth Zone podcast. And my name's Alex Morgan, and I'm a master trainer of hypnosis and NLP. And on this episode, I'll be sharing my insights into the different growth zones. So everyone's heard of the comfort zone, the growth zone. However, we really want to get into the nitty-gritty of why we're all here. And that's the hyper growth zone. So that's also the name of this podcast. And today, you'll learn what the hyper growth zone is and how you can take just small risks and really have a huge reward. Not a small reward, but you take a small risk and the reward is like 1 million times what you thought it would be. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So the first zone that we spend a lot of our time, or most people you know, most people you work with, even people you do business with, what's the main zone that we're in most of the time? Our comfort zone. And what are we there? We're comfortable. We're taking it easy. We're relaxing. However, what's also there? We're stressing about the same things. We're achieving the same things. We have the same old habits, the same old routine. We're making the same amount of money. We're going on the same vacations. So all of these things. Now that's great. You're comfortable. Maybe it even feels good. Maybe you even like it. However, you're not here on this world to be in the comfort zone and have limitations. You're here to be limitless. Because guess what? When we were born limitless. And over time, when we were a kid, we were like a little unconscious mind, just soaking up everything like a sponge. Probably from like age 0, when we were born, to age 7. We just walked around and we soaked up everything like a sponge. Our unconscious mind accepts everything at this age that it hears, for the most part. So this could come from our parents' friends, our grandparents, our family, people we're around a lot. And guess what? We were born limitless, and over time, we accepted all these limitations that we heard people saying or saw them doing. Then we got comfortable with this. We were actually in this comfort zone, a comfort zone of limitations. So yeah, the comfort zone is nice. You know, we're making money, we have a steady job, we have our benefits, we're living in a house, we drive the car, whatever it is. We're comfortable. However, in this zone, we're not blowing past any limitations. We're not really growing a whole lot. We're not making more money. We're not even really making any different decisions or big decisions. We're not betting on ourselves here. We're not investing in ourselves here. We're just going along. We're just going with the flow. It's like we're being taken by life. It's like we're the assistant manager of our life. In this zone, in this comfort zone, it's like we're waiting for someone else to tell us, hey, this is the decision you should make. This is the action you should take. It's like you're literally the assistant manager at work, and you're like, hey, hold on, I have to ask this manager if we can do this. I have to ask this manager if I can go on vacation. I have to ask this manager if I can leave early. Or I have to ask this manager to approve this. Why would we want to live our life like that every single second of every day? Why would we want to have to ask someone else for approval just because we're comfortable? That doesn't really sound that comfortable to me, though. It doesn't make sense. Comfort, sure, it's good. However, we can take comfort after doing what we really deserved all day. Like we really deserve it. Then we can be comfortable at the end of the day. Have you ever had a day where you just, worked? You accomplished so many things. You stretched your mind to new limits. And then at the end of the day, you're like, yeah, I really want to relax. I want to feel good. I want to be comfortable now. You know how good that felt to sit down and enjoy those moments of comfort? It felt amazing because you earned it. Because you did everything you could all day to deserve it. You deserved it at the end of the day. However, when you're in the comfort zone most of the day, and then you're comfortable at the end of the day, you don't really feel that good. You're not like, oh, I deserve to do this. What you think is you deserve to do other things that people aren't telling you to do. However, since you're comfortable, you're living by other people's rules sometimes. People are making decisions for you. So that's the comfort zone. It's comfortable, however, it's not at the same time. I don't look at it as being so comfortable because I want new things. I'm sure you want new things too, and that's why you're listening. And that means we can enter in to the growth zone. And what the growth zone means is we can achieve new things. We can make new connections with people. We can open up our network, start a new business, get that promotion that we always wanted, whatever it is. This is when we go beyond our comfort. This is when we start to take risks. This is when we go into situations with people we know, customers, whatever. This is where we look for win-win. Not win-lose. Not someone else telling us to do something and one of us wins and one of us loses. This is where we create win-win situations, win-win relationships, win-win in business. That sounds much better, doesn't it? So all you need to do to go to the growth zone is you just have to decide for yourself, like, hey, all those things I just said about the comfort zone, if you're already a bit uncomfortable hearing that's where you were, guess what? You're ready to enter the growth zone. You're ready. You're more than ready. And I'm sure it feels good to already think that, to already see yourself there, to already hear the sounds of success in that growth zone, to really feel like you can succeed, like you can accomplish anything. That's what it means to grow. Because remember what I said earlier, when we were born, we weren't born with any limitations. We were this bundle of joy, this happiness, this success. I mean, just being born, what are the odds? It's like a miracle. So why not live your life going after as many miracles as you can, big, small, whatever they are. So all you have to do is make a decision for you. Decide for yourself. This is what I want to do. I want to enter the growth zone. I want to make decisions for me. You don't need to consult anyone else. If you're the type of person who has to ask 4 or 5 people, hey, what should I do? Should I do this? Should I join this program? Should I join this training? Stop doing that. If you want to go into the growth zone, the first thing you really need to do is decide for yourself. You don't need to ask anyone for permission because you see the world through your eyes and they see the world through their eyes. So they're going to be telling you from their perspective what you should do. Why not have your own perspective? Knowing that if you go into the growth zone, what you're going to get out of it. No one else is really going to know what you're going to see or what you're going to feel when you achieve what you want. So there's no need to ask anyone. So decide for yourself. So that's really the first thing that you want to do. Another thing you can do to go in the growth zone is just bet on yourself and consistently do that. So that could be spending time working on yourself, spending money working on yourself, joining different trainings, joining different programs, different online courses, maybe doing some coaching sessions, whatever that is for you, doing some personal training, working on your fitness, your health, whatever it is, that's how you grow. So investing in yourself, that's another thing that you can do. And it's easy. It's really easy. Just make the decision. Invest time, invest energy, invest money in yourself. And next thing you know, just because you did something different and you made a different decision, guess what? You're going to have different results. And your life will be different. Maybe you'll have different relationships. You'll have a different business. You'll have different vacations, different cars, different experiences, different things. You'll have more money, whatever it is. You'll have better relationships with your family because then you can apply things that you learn from these trainings and these decisions that you made. So going to the growth zone, it's easy. All you have to do is recognize, hey, I'm uncomfortable being comfortable and I want something else. This is what I did. I was uncomfortable where I was. And if you listen to the first episode, I share my personal story. I was uncomfortable where I was, and I said, I need to find something that's going to help me. And so I found a personal development training, doing hypnosis, doing NLP. However, it all started with a decision. I said, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this comfort that's getting me nowhere. So I made a decision. Then I decided to invest time, money, and energy into myself. And guess what? That's the best thing that we can do. Invest in ourselves. Because no one else is going to do it for us. Nobody. No one's going to see us and be like, oh, there's poor old Alex over there. Look at him. He doesn't bet on himself. He doesn't invest on himself. He's just going along in his comfort zone. However, you know what? I want to invest time, money, and energy into Alex. No, it doesn't work like that. You need to decide for yourself to do it. So go into the growth zone. Go there as many times and spend as much time as you can in the growth zone. Because guess what? Then you'll deserve everything you have. You'll feel like you'll really deserve it. And guess what? You'll want even more. And that's where the hyper growth zone comes in. I don't know too many people that talk about the hyper growth zone. However, my first trainer in NLP, he talks about the hyper growth zone. So what is the hyper growth zone? Now, if you think you're taking risks going into the growth zone, guess what? The hyper growth zone, it's just another risk. However, this risk can get you so much reward. So much reward. It's really like, imagine taking a big risk and having it pay off, and you could really get anything you ever wanted and much more. That's the hyper growth zone. And that's the thinking that we want to have when we listen to this podcast, when we have conversations with people, or when we're thinking about our business. We want to think big. We want to think, what's the one thing that I can do? Because you don't care about being comfortable anymore. You don't care about growing anymore here. You want everything. You don't want to have to choose between buying one car or, hey, I have to get this. Why not have both? When you get into the hyper growth zone, you can have both. You can have everything. And all you have to do is take that one risk. So if you could think of one risk right now, what's the one risk that I can take that's going to get me everything that I wanted? That's how you enter into the hyper growth zone. That's how you do it. So for me, when I didn't have anything left, I was like, I need to find a training. I need to take a big risk, because I know if I do this, everything I ever want will be on the other side of that training. And when I go to this training, I'm going to give it everything I have. That's another important part of the hypergrowth zone. Give it everything you have. Be excellent. Be successful. Motivation doesn't matter. Motivation is like a prerequisite for getting in the hypergrowth zone. This is for people who want to win big or win bigger. They want everything. They go for it all. For the relationships, for the money, for the experience, for the things, for the love, whatever it is. And it's a decision that we make every single day. We can enter this hypergrowth zone. We can take a risk. I'm sure there's something in your business, in your life, for your family, whatever it is. You can take some sort of risk that's going to get you huge, huge results. And that's part of the hypergrowth zone. It's also having that belief that when you make those decisions, you're going to achieve so much. So it's also adopting certain beliefs. You don't have any doubts. You don't have any fears. Remember, motivation is a prerequisite to having this hypergrowth. So you make decisions and you have a mindset, a mentality, beliefs that you are going to achieve much more than you ever have, much more than you can even dream of. And that's all part of the hypergrowth zone, is getting exactly what you want because you take these risks. And now you can start to design your life, design your future, design what each and everything looks like. Because the thing is motivation is only so much. And motivation is a prerequisite for this hypergrowth zone. What you really need instead of motivation is you need data. Because what does data do? Let's say that you want to take a risk and go to the hypergrowth zone and it's going to get you your dream car. Well, what data do you have on your dream car? Do you know how much it costs? Do you know what year of car you want? What color? Have you sat in the car? Have you went to look at it? Have you test drove it? Do you know how it sounds when you turn on the engine? Do you know how it feels when you drive it? So when you have that data, it also makes it much, much easier to take these risks. So much easier. Because if you know exactly what you want and you can get it, and you have this belief and mindset, mentality that you can get it, then it doesn't even seem like it's a risk. If you know exactly what you want and you can get it, guess what? You're going to do that over and over and over again. And it's going to get to the point when you're in the hypergrowth zone that when you go to buy a car, you're not going to have to make a choice anymore between this car or that car. I know people that are in the hypergrowth zone, and when they go to buy a car, they buy 2. They buy 3 cars. They don't need to choose. They buy exactly what they want because they've taken so many risks over and over, and this compounds into having more of what they want, more belief in themselves as well. So when they go, it's easy. It's effortless. Everything they obtain, it's easy for them. And they don't have to choose. So this is a hypergrowth zone. And this is what you should want to achieve. And by listening to this podcast and the many more that come after it, guess what? Each one, you're going to open your mind to new thinking. And when you open your mind to new thinking, your mind won't go back to where it started. Because now you'll be able to contemplate much more. And we can't actually have something unless we're able to contemplate it. So now you should have the mentality that it's easy to take these small risks to get huge, big, massive results. Now you can think big. Now you can think even bigger. Now you can go for hypergrowth. So now just think of a few things that you took away from this episode. I don't want to tell you exactly what you should take away, because as you get used to these new concepts, it's going to create new neural pathways in your mind. And all these suggestions I gave, they'll be embedded in your unconscious mind. However, I want your unconscious mind to make those connections, to make those new pathways. So as you go through the next days, weeks, months, you'll start to notice exactly what you should take away and what you should learn. Because your unconscious mind, it takes everything personally. So it'll create your learnings and your own little metaphors that you need to take away from this. So another way to enter the hypergrowth zone, of course, with Athens NLP Studies, like I said, I'm a master trainer of hypnosis and NLP. I always have online trainings going where you can join from anywhere in the world. So if you want more information, you can always send me an email, alex@athensnlp.com, or you can check out everything I have to offer at athensnlp.com. So I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts on this episode, and I'll be releasing many more in the future. So thanks for listening and enjoy the hypergrowth zone.